What are these kids doing? They're relaxing, playing games, watching shows, just hanging out. Over the past few years, media such as video games and movies have grown to be very popular and common. And with it, there has been concern with the possible relationship with the increase of violence.
So, should our children be exposed to violence, even if it's in the world of fantasy?
With anything, there's the stories of the good, the stories with plots of justice and right, and the bad, the ones of similar acts of violence, drug use, and other unlawful behavior. News networks like Fox and CNN are quick to blame other sources of media like books, movies, and video games for the crimes other people commit.
Law enforcement has found repeatedly, as in Grand Rapids, Michigan, that some young people played Grand Theft Auto 3, hopped in their truck, ran over a man they didn't even know.
People are taking rumors, stories, and headlines, and drawing lines and conclusions where there are none, making conclusions from word of mouth and uneducated speculation. Many never partake in the viewing of these medias.
Cooper, have you ever played Mass Effect?
No.
When Grand Theft Auto came out, there was a lot of people trying to cite the game as responsible for car thefts, when car thefts have been in existence since we've had cars. We've had violence since we've had, before we had a language.
People assume that infliction of pain is what draws people in, ignoring all other aspects and intentions.
The point of media isn't to be the most violent or gory thing out there. The importance is the ideas and the stories it relates. And it does this by the characters and the events that happen to them. If my character has to kill a man to survive, then you feel more for your character's danger. And it's much more about the individual and their story, much more than what you're doing.
I'm not sure that it has the far-reaching impact that people feel like it does. In what I do, I see more and more people, even if they're playing those games, even if they're watching the films, are also avid students and excellent students. And the question is, are they mature enough to handle some of the levels that they're having to deal with?
We have to be careful here. Let's face it, there's all kinds of bad stuff coming through the internet, through video games, and the reality is, I would argue, that the government cannot and should not censor everything coming across the web and in video games. At the end of the day, it's just like Chet said, it's up to parents to control what their kids are seeing.
One of the issues with media in contemporary society is the speed with which it comes to people. So many people have access to it now at a variety of ages, and part of the problem, I think, is it seems like the more violent, the more promiscuous are coming to young people at younger and younger and younger ages.
There are millions of things that may be at fault, and media may turn out to be a solid factor. But for now, with nothing besides speculation supporting the claim, we cannot and should not attack the media, and leave it to remain under siege as artists, readers and writers, film students, game players, and moviegoers. We should not have our passions to blame. The point of this is not to demean or diminish from these issues, but rather to address that media is not the single cause. With anything, there are going to be multiple factors, and rather than just blaming one, we need to focus on all of them. By blaming only media, we are creating a scapegoat and not focusing on these issues and creating anger and frustration rather than progress and a future solution.